Other way. Hello, good evening now. My name is Jessica Fashant-Peterson. I am a family nurse practitioner, as you heard, and my company is literally right down the street here on Holmes Street in downtown Shakopee. So it is a direct primary care model, and I think in order to understand like what I'm trying to fix about healthcare, let's kind of see a little bit about what the problems that I'm fixing. Number one is the price. Right now, healthcare is so expensive and there's no transparency in your pricing. You don't show up and like you know what you're paying for and that's what you walk out the door with. No, you give them your information, you get your care and you get your bill 2 to 12 weeks later and there's no connection with what you just had, and usually it's way more money than you thought you were going to spend even when you use your insurance. And so right now my model of care is $68 a month for the first person, $24 for each additional household member. So it costs you less than some gym memberships, really. The systematic treatment of patients, you're kind of in there and out of there. They have their checklists they need to check off. Even as a provider, it feels very systematic, like you're a hamster in a wheel and you're not actually delivering that care that we all went to school to actually do. So I think that that's been just very dissatisfying, and patient satisfaction scores are at an all-time low, and that's not just because of COVID, but it's also because of that mill that they've got going. And because it is a sick care system, meaning they only make money when you're in there being sick, except for your one wellness visit, but really that's just those annual screenings, which are great because there's early intervention, but they're actually just trying to detect if you're sick so they can make more money in a lot of ways. So I feel like that's a mal-aligned incentive. Like it's kind of not how healthcare should work. With a membership, they're paying and they can come in as many times as they want to actually with that $68 a month. And so the healthier they are and the less they need care, like the more we work together to get them healthy, the more I can open up and see more patients and the more money I can make, for a better way to put it. Like this is a business after all. But that's how we realign healthcare. I feel like it's the only ethical way to be delivering primary care, actually. Practitioner burnout is also at an all-time high, especially for nurse practitioners. There's only 2 left in my class actually in primary care, which is super sad because we are those hamsters on a wheel. Insurance complexities, and like I said, it's not healthcare, it's sick care at this time. We can fix it all. As I mentioned, with the membership, we realign the patient and the provider for wellness for everybody. We can make longer visits. You can do more personalized care. We can learn not only what is ailing you, like with your symptoms, but also what are your values, what are your supports, so that way we can help make more successful care plans. And it's actually proven that people have better outcomes and way better patient satisfaction with these models. I'm not the only one. There are multiple DPCs all throughout the country, more popular on the East and West Coast even 10 years ago. I saw about 14 that have started since 2024 now in Minnesota. So there's a lot of room for this. It's becoming on higher demand and people are getting it because of all the higher deductible plans that are happening. So obviously with my pricing, even if you have a family of 4, you're never gonna meet a $3,000 deductible there, even if you wanna do really fancy testing. So again, these are the things that we're fixing. And with that practitioner burnout, I get more time with my patients. I know your name, your family's name. I have one family where I have, grandma, mom, and grandkids all coming in. And so I know your other family's names. I might even know your cat's name now, and things like that. And so that's just, it's bringing care back to healthcare a lot of the times. Really, you're investing in me at this point because it's my practice. And I've been in practice for over 16 years, holistic and integrative. When I first got out of school, I was like, statins should be in the water because we all have high cholesterol. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. Really, if you just eat a little bit more plants for even 3 weeks, we can see your cholesterol down by like 150 points. That's amazing. Maybe we should work on what you're eating instead. And so it's through a lot of education from my own patients and seeing what happens, as well as the research that's out there, of course, for lifestyle interventions, that I've really gotten to this more holistic and integrative place. I am an educator and I've been a disruptor for a while. This is actually my 5th startup. But it's the first time I'm doing it on my own. I've always done it with other people or gotten in that beginning phase and helped them grow. But this is the first time I'm going on it on my own because I feel like this is what needs to happen to primary care. My target market, everybody consumes healthcare, so it would be kind of for everybody really, but individual families are interested in getting healthier. That's, a big market for me. Those individuals and families with the higher deductible plans, as I said, we can save them 1/3 to 1/10 of the cost of traditional primary care right now. and seeing the whole family also makes it good. When it comes to the better, like things that are changing in the market with those higher deductible plans, higher premiums, like we can save people a bunch of money for higher quality care, which is the amazing part. And then the big beautiful bill is allowing HSAs to pay directly for memberships now in the beginning of the year. So they can pay directly with their HSA. Right now we can bundle like 3 months of care for a visit kind of and make that membership, and then I can give you a bill, you can submit that to your insurance. Right now it's all for out-of-network benefits, which can be, some people can get 80% reimbursement if they submit their own bills. But by taking all those people pushed out that are pushing the papers around, we save them a ton of money. And so that's the great part there. Obviously people who are uninsured, and so that's the other thing that is going to happen with the big beautiful bill, is that there will be a lot more uninsured folks. And so this is also a great option for them. The third one that might not be as aware of is that the health shares that are out there. So health shares are kind of a collaborative. They're not considered insurance, but it's usually a group of people get together and they all pool money in. They come in and they pay out of pocket to do their services, but then they can get reimbursed. And health shares actually have $150 like allowances for things like primary, like this direct primary care. Right now my avenues are new. I kind of talked all about this membership stuff to start with. But I also have integrative therapies. So I have an acupuncturist and a mental health therapist that come in and deliver services, because it's not just about body, but mind and energy, or the other pieces of you. I also offer IV therapy. I work with a lot of people whose guts aren't working quite right. We're all stressed, we're not absorbing well. So being able to get nutrients right into your vein is very helpful. It also has a pretty good margin, so that's helping me to stay alive right now. This happens to be kind of like a bootstrapped business at this time. And then I just got in contact with a broker for a combination of my DPC membership with a higher deductible plan for an employer group. So they're offering this to this employer group that's local, and so hopefully on 1/1, if this contract goes through, there'll be 30 patients that fall right into my practice on 1/1. So that's kind of the big part, is that I'm in business. I just opened on this July, and so it's been 3 months. And I have over 40 members already, which is great. So we're already starting to pay some bills, which is wonderful. But when it comes to some big expenses that I've been putting off, I could invest more in marketing. A lot of it's been a little bit of word and mouth, so I'd like to do that. I need lawyer services. That would be fantastic. Definitely an accountant to do my taxes, because this is the first time I'm doing this by myself. I've always partnered with somebody who's more business-minded. I've learned a lot in the time, but that's something I'll need help with. So that's kind of that big drop-off, is those big expenses I've been putting off, and then it goes back up, and then I might need to hire my first person. But after that, we can keep going up and up. And so the long-term goals, so I kind of talked about some of those bigger ticket expenses that I'm asking for, but also in that you can see like, hey, if I just can get to this point, which will take about $6,500 or so, like then this thing is really off and running. When it comes to some foundational things, I still need like getting credentialed with insurance companies. So people who do have good insurance would be still great people to be in this practice. It's just, like if I could get their whole bill reimbursed, that'd be fantastic. But it costs money and time to get credentialed with insurance companies. Storage space, like we are slowly buying cupboards, and like things like that with this bootstrap company. And so as we get more storage and everything, I would love to have, some supplements on hand, as well as some like medications, especially like antibiotics, because if somebody is sick, I'd rather you get care now and just go home versus having to now go to the pharmacy. I think that's a big gap in care with that. But it's a good business. However, like this will save people money, because then they're not walking into CVS or Target and spending more money there while they're there. It's all about saving people money as well. Could use some uniforms and some other things. So the way it kind of goes, so 2 years out, I'll be hopefully hiring my first person within this first year. 2 years out, I could be training or hiring another nurse practitioner to be in that space. But then that space is pretty full at about 500 people. And so at that time, even if that nurse practitioner wanted to then open up their own clinic, already seeding their practice, they already have people to go with. Like we can just keep seeding little practices like this and reform healthcare right here from Shakopee, Minnesota, to make it just more enjoyable. Everybody's healthier and happier, including your provider. And that's what I like to see happen. Could be big, but at least I'll have a nice spot downtown.